Hello class. It's great to see you all again. Today, we'll be building on what we learned in our last session by exploring practical applications for mental visualization and chain linking. What type of college classes require students to memorize a lot of technical terms? One area in which students find a huge need to memorize a lot of technical terms is in science courses, like chemistry. So, let's apply these principles in a practical way by using a technical list of words, like the periodic table of elements. Do you remember the first 10 elements of the periodic table? If not, don't worry. I'll teach you how to easily memorize the first 10 elements, which can be applied to memorizing all 118 elements, or any technical information required in your college classes, like biology, or anatomy and physiology. Are you ready to memorize the first 10 elements of the periodic table? Here are the first 10 elements if you don't remember. Number 1 is hydrogen. Number 2 is helium. Number 3 is lithium. Number 4 is beryllium. Number 5 is boron. Number 6 is carbon. Number 7 is nitrogen. Number 8 is oxygen. Number 9 is fluorine. Number 10 is neon. Now, the first thing we want to do to remember information is to turn it into a picture. This is because your brain is better at remembering information when it is visualized as a picture. If you need to learn a new word and want to create a vivid mental image, try asking yourself, what does it remind you of, or what comes to mind? Or how is it related to something else? Or is there anything that sounds similar to the word? Or is there anything that sounds similar when I break this word into syllables? Let's put this into practice with the elements of the periodic table. The first element is hydrogen. What picture comes to mind that reminds you of hydrogen? It could be a bomb, like a hydrogen bomb, water or HO, or a fire hydrant. Let's go with a hydrant. Can you visually see a fire hydrant? What color is it? Can you see the bright red fire hydrant? The next element is helium. What picture comes to mind when you hear the word helium? It may be a balloon filled with helium. Like the game Pictionary, these vivid pictures represent cues to remind you of each element or new information. Notice that you are linking new information, like the elements in the periodic table, to prior information, like a familiar word that is converted into a picture. Connecting new information to our existing knowledge helps us improve the encoding of new memories and retain that information more effectively. Now, it is time to link the two words. Remember that the key to connecting ideas and helping them stick in our memory is chain linking. We can achieve this through storytelling that is filled with action, uniqueness such as odd or funny, and emotion. So, imagine feeling thirsty, so you walk over to a fire hydrant for water. But before you can drink water, red balloons start to lift you high above. You feel excited but scared as you float away. The next element is lithium. What picture or image comes to mind when you hear the word lithium? Possibly batteries, like lithium batteries. So, what do we do now? Yes, you're correct, we link batteries to our story. As you are floating away, suddenly, it starts to rain batteries that hit you so hard it hurts. Are you visualizing this story as it unfolds? The next element is beryllium. If a new word or concept does not remind you of something familiar, try visualizing a picture of something that sounds similar to the pronunciation of the word. In this case, beryllium sounds like a B, and the ending of the word or suffix sounds like really yum. It may not be the exact sound, but it is close enough to give your mind a clue to remember the word beryllium. Next, we link the new word to the story. Because the batteries are hitting you on the head, you jump on a giant bee and fly away. Suddenly, you get hungry and eat the bee, and it is really yum. Does this story sound familiar? If you recall, boron is the next element. Since you ate the bee that was really yum, you start to fall, but you see a wild boar running on thin air. So, you jump on the boar, but both of you are too heavy, so you start to fall. The sixth element is carbon, which sounds like a car bomb. So, let's interweave the story. When you hit the ground, it sounds like a car bomb. Do you recall what was next on the list of words you remembered earlier? Who came to your rescue? Yes, a knight who represents nitrogen. And who accompanied the knight? That's right, an ox, which represents oxygen. Do you remember the chain link story? If you recall, to your rescue, a knight comes rowing in a boat with an ox. The ninth element is fluoride. Do you remember what happened in the story and why you needed to use fluoride toothpaste? That's right. The ox tried to blow in your mouth to give you oxygen, but it has horrible breath, so you wake up and brush the ox's teeth with fluoride toothpaste. After brushing the ox's teeth, what happens to their teeth? Recall, it started to glow like a neon sign. The sign represents the element neon. Take a moment and try to visualize the story. As you visualize the story, do your best to write down the first 10 elements of the periodic table. Pause the video now. Did you recall them all? Let's find out. Here are the first 10 elements of the periodic table. Number 1 is hydrogen. Number 2 is helium. Number 3 is lithium. Number 4 is beryllium. Number 5 is boron. Number 6 is carbon. Number 7 is nitrogen. Number 8 is oxygen. Number 9 is fluorine. Number 10 is neon. How many did you manage to get right? Take a second and consider the effectiveness of these memory techniques. Think about how long it would typically take to memorize the first 10 elements of the periodic table. If you've taken high school chemistry, you probably spent nearly a whole year trying to learn the elements, and still didn't have it all memorized. This is just the beginning of the many techniques you'll explore in this video series and those in the accompanying textbook. For your homework, I'd like you to teach someone else how to memorize the first 10 elements of the periodic table or challenge yourself to remember the next 10 elements. I'm excited to see you in the next lesson.